Hello and welcome to Over Here, Over There, your podcast across borders. We are bringing this episode to you in partnership with Even Load Films and Productions. From the legendary Savoy in central London, one of the most iconic hotels in the world, we are delighted to be speaking with Mr. Franck Arnold, the Savoy's managing director, about his career and the esteemed institution of luxury and customer service that is the Savoy.
Welcome to Over Here, Over There. I hope you don't mind me asking, but we are sitting here at the Savoy, one of the most iconic hotels in the world, one of the most luxurious and wonderful places. But I was wondering, where would you actually go on a holiday? Sometimes as a professional, I at least like to do something totally different, shake it up.
Well, then we are similar. I spend my life in hotels. Even when I travel and I represent the hotel, etc., I'm staying in hotels and I love it. And I love to discover other hotels, etc. However, on holiday, I prefer to not having to dress up, not having to say hello to every employee around. And when I am staying on holiday in a hotel, I'm still not completely, disconnected. So I like to disconnect and stay generally in a sunny place, renting, because I love cooking. So I love going to the market, choose the food that I'm going to cook, choose the wines that I'm going to be drinking. And I love to entertain, so I love to having my own family, of course, staying there, but also friends, and then do my things, do my cycling, my golfing, my running, without having to think about how am I going to be seen or perceived by others.
But you're not roughing it. You're not taking a tent and go out in the woods or something like that.
No, not to that extent. No, I think my wife would not necessarily love that. I would probably, and I'm not saying I will never, but generally I would still. I would not. I would not stay outside. However, I would take long rides on my bicycle or runs and discover the place and do my things on my own terms and time.
What surprised you when you took over the role here at the Savoy? Anything in particular?
Oh, wow. It's, I was running another hotel before. It's the Ritz-Carlton in Toronto. A wonderful property, wonderful company. And I had great relationship with the team, with the staff, with the guests, with the owners, with the owning company, the board. And I was not intending to leave because we had bought a house in Toronto 1 year prior. My two eldest sons had started university, one in Toronto, the other one in Kingston, in Ontario. And it was COVID. And it was COVID. So when I received a call from a recruiter in, I think, May of 2020, I was not looking for a new job. I was just trying to do everything possible to prepare to reopen the Ritz-Carlton after the first lockdown, and I get this message from a recruiter, headhunter that I had not spoken to in a long time, and basically saying, "Franck, can we tempt you back to Europe? Can we speak tomorrow?" So, well, I responded, "Well, I'm not looking. If you want to call me, I'll be on my way to the hotel." At that time, because I still went to the hotel on a daily basis because I really am not a person who likes to work from home. And so I was driving and I received a call from this headhunter and she said, "Well, can we tempt you back to London, Europe?" I said, "Well, London is exciting, but you know what, for these circumstances, and by the way, it's COVID. Everything is closed. Why would I leave a job that I have for something that, in an industry that is currently totally shut down? Why should I leave?" And she said, "Well, it's a game changer. It's a regional role plus a managing director's job, and it's for the Savoy in London." I literally put my foot on the brake, and I say, all right, let me park. Pulled over.
Right.
I stopped. I said, okay, let's talk. And as soon as she said that, it was just, I knew it was the right job for me.
Wow.
You know, it's like I had prepared myself to get this job.
You seem to have embraced it entirely, but when you first started in a 5-star hotel, was that in any way intimidating? At least the first day, was there something that you had to overcome?
So you see, my first experiences were in restaurants, and it was either in service, so you get used to people, you get used to serving others, and you get used to quality. Mm-hmm. And the quality aspect is you get used to the environment very quickly, but you learn how to behave, how to respond, how to speak in a manner which is different than the one that you use with your family or friends. So you learn to interact. So it was a gradual apprenticeship of what luxury is. And again, you know, I've realized that in my life it's trial and errors, and the errors probably were much more enriching than the successes. The errors really actually showed me that I was not perfect. It showed me that I was making mistakes, and I had a lot of good people along the way to tell me off and to correct me and to help me becoming a better person and a better leader.
Here at the Savoy, I do feel like it is quintessential British or maybe even English, but also it has a global allure to it and a global standard, of course. How do you keep it, bridged between those two things?
Mm-hmm. And again, I don't think you have to be English or British to lead the Savoy, but you have to be totally passionate about it, and you need to feel totally accountable for it. And so for me, my responsibility is to be the caretaker. I need to be the custodian of this legacy. And this is a British, English, London legacy that I'm in charge of. And so I need to respect that. So we can't do anything too wild and to drastically transform things. I compare what we're doing at the Savoy probably with a Porsche 911, which evolves gradually. The car is totally different from what it was in the 50s. Totally different, but you still know it's the Porsche 911. And the Savoy needs to convey the same message. We are quintessentially British. We need to keep and maintain the luxury codes and some of the British codes. But another British character, in my view, is eccentricity. So within that conservatism, we need to bring a dash of eccentricity. You see, look at those wonderful little shoes. I will say this is the dash of eccentricity. And I would say that in order for us to be quintessentially British, we need to always add a little bit of a twist. And that twist, that twist can come with the tartan, can come with the programming, can come with, who are partners. So we partnered here. When I was reopening the Savoy, we needed to renovate some spaces, but, it was a difficult time. The ownership companies, had been bleeding cash for a while, so I needed to find new ways of bringing excitement, novelty, but in a different way. And we already had an association with Gordon Ramsay at the Savoy Grill for 20 years. Successful partnership, and I knew that he was interested in extending that relationship. So to make we discussed the possibility for Gordon Ramsay and the team to take over a restaurant called Koestler. And but that came with a bit of risk for them, because it was operating another restaurant in the hotel, and one that is historically the Savoy restaurant. But we decided that within this agreement that we set, we would work very closely with Gordon Ramsay's team to respect what the Savoy is, and therefore have conversation in words and ability to discuss, the quality output, the people that are hired, etc., to really form a kind of a joint venture, which has been very successful since we did that. And it brought novelty with a restaurant that was renovated, reconceptualized, and is being run by one of the most well-known chefs in the world. And in addition to the grill, which was renovated last year as well, the Savoy Grill, which is a fantastic restaurant, still it's a very successful place. In addition to that, the place that used to be a meeting space on top of the grill reopened and was reconceptualized as a fine dining French restaurant called 1890 to pay homage to Auguste Escoffier when Auguste Escoffier started here. And Gordon Ramsay felt that he needed to pay homage to Escoffier's legacy and named this restaurant 1890. And we achieved our first Michelin star earlier on this year for 1890.
Yeah.
So, and we will continue doing that. So whenever we have the ability to invest, we look at what is it that stays true to what the Savoy is, but with a little bit of a twist that brings us to really, really the 21st century. So we make it evolve without shocking too many people's systems, but we bring novelty. So we are going to be reconceptualizing the Thames foyer, and we are going to create a very unique space that will still cater for breakfast, will still cater for afternoon tea, because that's one of the staples of one of our service offerings is afternoon tea at the Savoy. And in addition to that, we will have the ability to bring the space to life in the evening. And this is the heart of the Savoy. And at the moment, you come at 8 o'clock, it's died down. You still have access to the Beaufort Bar. You have access to the River Restaurant. But the place is too quiet. It drains the energy out of the place. So we are reconceptualizing that to bring the right level of energy throughout the day and night.
Can I ask you about discretion? The Savoy is like the hallmark, is known for the hallmark of discretion. Mm-hmm. And you have such an international clientele, and a lot of famous, notable people have come over the centuries, to here.
Who are currently staying as we speak.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. We'll keep our eyes peeled.
We can try.
And you don't have to tell us anything juicy, but if you want to tell us something juicy, please go ahead. But as far as just how do you manage that, those challenges of being discreet with such an international clientele?
I think being discreet in the past was very easy, much easier than nowadays. Now, information travels at the speed of light, literally, and everyone who sees something will share it with the world. So we have to be extremely careful, because people trust us with this information. And we are not a church. We are not a temple. We're not a synagogue. We're not a mosque. We're not a museum. We are a hotel. People meet in hotels. People stay in hotel. But what happens in hotels unless it is illegal, then it becomes our problem and our responsibility to do something about it. But for the rest, It is a private space, and we have to respect that. The difficulty lies with the fact that nowadays, you have a camera with you, you can post it on the internet, on any social media channel, and the world will know about it. So we have to be very careful with that as to how to curate this. We will at times speak about some people who have stayed with us because they have agreed to it, and they are actually welcoming it. And therefore, if you look, online, you will find a lot of people who have stayed with us. During the coronation, we had President Macron and his wife and his small entourage staying with us for the coronation. But that was a public thing, although people knew he was staying because he had gone for a walk outside, and therefore people were aware of it, and we were no, that was not for the coronation, that was actually for the funeral of late Queen Elizabeth, and it was public because they had walked around the hotel, and because they love to walk, and they took the main entrance. So as soon as you enter, and he volunteered to take a picture with the staff, and therefore you tacitly agree that this will be published and communicated. But nowadays I would say that celebrities prefer to remain incognito because of the fact that it's not like in the before social media. You still could be seen in public, but without the world knowing it the next day. Nowadays, it's different, and therefore the vast majority prefer to stay incognito and confidentially. And so we have to pay extra attention. We need to train our staff accordingly, and it's sacrosanct. It's something that we need to live by and we need to abide by, because that's our reputation. This is a trust that people, but not only celebrities, everyone. Staying. Yeah. It is their absolute right to, once they're behind those doors, and unless there is a criminal activity happening, which almost never happens, thank you. It is not our business. It is our business to make them feel comfortable, to create experiences and memories. But it's not for us to talk about it.
Let me tell you a little story. You might want to cut that out one day, but actually about that very first radio broadcast, it was written about by a British travel writer called Henry Morton, traveling across England, and he was in Cornwall when people actually turned on the wireless and heard that dinner dance at the Savoy. And my mom loved that book, and when she met my dad took her to the Savoy, and I might have been conceived here. So it's
you're a Savoy baby then.
I've come full circle.
That's wonderful. You know what? I think it's a story that you should keep. Don't cut it out.
She actually, when she gets off the plane, she just migrates right to this spot.
Right.
It's like it's something.
It's something
innate.
I have to do because, first of all, it's my sanctuary. It's my safe place. And when I'm out and about in the world and I need something to remind me of the good of the world, I think of the Beaufort Bar and the Savoy. And when I'm here, just to feel arrived, I go to the Savoy and just enjoy sitting in the lobby or taking a drink at the American bar. And then I am happy
safe
again.
Place.
There's got to be something in that. Yeah.
But I think there is something to it, and I will not say that this is where you were conceived or etc. But possibly it is, and you're not the first person to tell me a similar story. Actually, I was recruiting for a leisure sales manager, and I was attending we have a travel show called IITM in Cannes every year in December, and I was recruiting, and I see this very tall, very charismatic Italian lady, talking to customers, etc. I say, wow, she's got a good character, great presence. And so I go say, oh, I'm Franck Arnold, the Savoy. Oh, you're from the Savoy? I say, yes, the Savoy. She says something. First, let me tell you a little story. My parents conceived me at the Savoy. They went on honeymoon at the Savoy, and I'm a Savoy baby. So, do I know the Savoy? Yes, I do. Personally, intimately.
We should form a little club.
Savoy Babies, please raise your hand. And I ended up hiring this young lady who did a fantastic job, and now she's moving back to Italy to live with her fiancé, and she's going to have a baby. But she was, she's a Savoy baby too.
Yeah, right. What do you look for when you're recruiting specifically that says, yeah, that's the one?
So first, people need to have the skills that are determined. You need to have done this or that. You have acquired the skills, whether it is service, culinary, hotels. But these are the hardcore skills, computer skills, etc. That's the experience. You can look at the CV, but you don't hire only from a CV. And especially when there are less skills available, you're going to spend more time in training and developing in-house. But what is absolutely crucial is that the person you're going to hire is going to be embracing the culture, and is going to become an agent of that culture, and is going to be able to replicate that culture. And this culture is about loving to serve others, to be of service to others. And we ask people to give us examples. And it's not because you are a server that you're necessarily good at it or very service-oriented. You can do the job without creating. So we ask people, how do they do that? How do they go about that? When is the last time they had done something special for someone? So we hear about that. We need to determine whether they like to be surrounded by people. They like to be surrounded by people. And there are lots of clues that tell us whether that person is there. A smile. Is the person smiling, or is the people just frowning and being very reserved? Which could work for certain function, for certain support function in accounting, but we still need to have people we can't have all extroverted people working. We need a mix of characters and talents, but we need to see genuine quality to want to serve, to help, to assist, and to engage with people. So we can see in the eyes. How you look at me in the eyes? Am I seeing? See, you're smiling with your eyes. I don't look at you. You're smiling with your
Likewise.
eyes. When you start to smile with your eyes, that tells me that there is something else happening. A smile, just a regular smile. Smile is the cheapest thing that you can do. It's quick. It takes not even a fraction of a second to do. It's quick, it's cheap, and it makes you feel good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right. You don't use a smile if the person is upset because the room service took 2 hours to come, and the bed and the bathroom smelled bad, and your cocktail was spilled on your dress when you had the cocktail. No, you're not going to smile and say, yes, of course, like you. You don't do that. However, I would say 98% of the time you can use it. So when you recruit people, do you feel that there's something happening? Are the people engaged in addition to the skills they have? Does the Savoy make them tick? Why are they here? And I would say 95% of the time, well, it's the Savoy. So people, you know, when you say the name, you know, people have a certain understanding, and it's strange because since I arrived here, the Savoy is owned by everybody. Everybody has a stake in this. And when we do something that is not right for that person, I can tell you, we hear about it. People write, people call. I still receive letters, you know, and it's rare these days. Of course, we receive letters of compliments and to thank us for the extraordinary experiences. And this goes from generation to generation. But I've never worked in a place where people own the place. And this is where we're just a custodian. You know, let me just be the custodian. That's what I want to do. Let me try to make it not as good, but just a little bit better than when I inherited it. And then I'll have done my job. But so we look for these soft skills. We look for these traits of character to select the right people, and then we educate them. We indoctrinate them, in a way, to be able to. Again, if we do that well, it is self-perpetrating, and then I can go on holiday. Enjoy my little barbecue, my little glass of wine, and cycling and golfing, because everybody is carrying the culture. I'm not. We have a philosophy, and this is important. How we translate that is we have a philosophy. We are not in a traditional pyramidal structure where everything is top down and I'm the boss and I'm giving the order, etc. Because if you do that, everybody will be waiting for the next one to actually do something about it. So we prefer to take that pyramid, you invert it, and I'm at the bottom. Okay? Yes, the responsibility still lies on my shoulders, but I'm the one to guide, orientate this pyramid, guide, inspire, share. But the people who are delivering the experience are the people at the top. These are my line employees engaging with our customers, with our guests. They are the ones who are delivering the experience. And they need to be empowered to do so. But empowering meaning they need to be able to, as well, to make a mistake. You know, when the young lady entered the room here, you know, she'd made a mistake. But it's important that we sit down and say, by the way, why did you enter? Were you not aware? Were you not told that this room was occupied? Were you not told? So how can we make it better in the future? And then we engage with the leaders, and we say, so what can we do to make it better? We learn by trial and errors as well, but we need to let mistakes happen and correct those mistakes so that we foment and we create this culture of excellence where we are open to criticism, we are open to feedback, but we do something about it. Yeah, and you know, things have changed. You know, if you probably took the Savoy in the year 2000, it was a different hotel, but the cultural environment was also very different. I think that people would still ask to wear a jacket and a tie, and you know, you would be asked to do that. But the world has changed. The expectations have changed. People with with culture and money do not necessarily wear a jacket and a tie. Actually, quite the contrary. When they are on leisure, and they are not wearing, sometimes they wear a jacket. So what we do is that we really recommend for people to wear something where they're going to feel comfortable, surrounded by people who are going to be quite dressed, but we don't impose a jacket or a tie. You got designer jeans that cost more than a suit, and if again, if we want to ensure that the Savoy is still relevant in the future, we need to evolve. And this is where we need to judge what's the acceptable evolution for the Savoy without breaking away from what we are supposed to represent. But we need to take a certain level of risk. I know for sure that, with the new rooms, which I believe are the right level of, legacy and modernity, but people, what did you do with our hotel? There will be an element of that. And there have been elements of that in the past. Otherwise, the hotel wouldn't be where it is today.
There must be also times when it gets stressful for the staff and heated maybe even. But probably think that the guests shall never notice and probably won't ever notice. But how do you deal with that when behind the scenes things are stressful and you have to cater for that? Do you feel like the leadership philosophy changes, or can you maintain that?
You see, we are there in a very supportive philosophy. We're not top down and do as I say. Mm-hmm. We are there to guide, we're there to communicate, try to share the philosophy. We're there to support, to coach, and to be there to support when, especially, it is very stressful at times. When you have a lot of people queuing, when the things are not going well, when the kitchen is late, when there are things missing, and you still have to produce this. So we need to accompany our staff with trainings and modules that helps them to deal with stress. We have created a wellness room at the hotel. We have a multi-faith room at the hotel. We invested £300,000 in renovating cafeteria. You go to our cafeteria, it's a restaurant. You're not being served, it's a self-service, but we cook, we have a team. I don't know how many chefs we have who produce fresh food every day. You have choices. You have kosher. You have halal. You have vegetarian. You have vegan. You have a soup. You have a salad bar. And we recreated that in an environment that helps people to relax, because yes, it can be stressful at times, and we need to be attentive, because if it's too stressful, people will leave. And this is one of the biggest threats in our industry, is turnover, and the biggest challenge is retention. Retention, because when you have worked at the Savoy 6 months, you become the target of other hotels for higher position, better paid positions, etc. So it is it's strategically critical that our staff does not turn over too much. Mm-hmm. And it's changed. COVID has changed things in the way people approach work, life. We have a younger generation that was suddenly confronted to death. You're not supposed to be confronted to death in your families or what you hear on TV, and today so many people have died, etc. So this younger generation has been, this immortal generation. When you're 20, you are immortal, right? Mm-hmm. I was.
I still am.
So confronting all those facts have changed their approach to work. They're not. They don't live to work. They work to live. Mm-hmm. And if something happens, they have a tendency of changing more often than in the past. Or if they are disenchanted or demotivated, they can disappear and not come back. Mm-hmm. So it is a very, very challenging, because our service performance depends on the ability of our staff to deliver those experiences. And if we change and if we rotate too much, it gives us a lot of pressure to make sure that people are sufficiently trained and be able to cope as well with the stress. Mm-hmm. So it's a very big, it's a strategic concern.
So, of course, with the pandemic, that was a very unprecedented times, but you also experienced Brexit. Let me put that unspeakable term on the table here.
That's
Sorry
fine.
for
That's
that.
Fine, absolutely.
How did that, or how does that affect your line of work in terms of recruitment or mm-hmm. getting goods into, or your work in general?
Yeah. Well, it was a double whammy, basically, because with the pandemic, a lot of our staff had left and gone back, to a lot of them from Western Europe or Europe in general, and we're not planning on coming back. And those people had acquired the right to stay and to stay and live in the UK, and the opportunity to continue recruiting from Europe stopped, at the end of 2020, if you had not stayed at least one night, well, the circumstances, let's say, that was the end. We could not recruit unless people had the qualification, so the qualification and the sponsorship and the money to fund and finance. And these visas are very expensive and are only applicable to people with the right level of qualifications. So you can't do that we employ a lot of people. A hotel like this, if you take into consideration our partners at Gordon Ramsay, we employ over 600 people. So and we need qualified people. So from a professional standpoint, I think that we have lost the ability to bring a lot of people who had the qualifications to help us doing an even better job here. Because it's not a profession that traditionally the British public embraces as a career, except if you go into management, okay? But the jobs of cooking, serving, housekeeping, etc., is not traditionally a typical job that people embrace. So for decades, and since the hotel opened, we've had a lot of people coming from Europe to work here. Some go back, some stay, and it makes London the most exciting city in the world.
Including yourself, of course.
Including myself,
Yes.
of course. And I've got my own opinion, but it's a personal opinion, and I'm not afraid to share it. But from a professional standpoint, it made our job much more difficult. Because we could not find the same level of qualification. And it's not only the qualification, it's, we want to have a little bit of the twist of having foreigners with a different accent, because this is what makes the Savoy what it is. When César Ritz arrived here, he had kind of a Franco-Swiss-German accent, and he was running the Savoy. And Auguste Escoffier didn't speak a word of English when he came here. Not a word. People who came here in the kitchen had to speak French because it was the language, it was the lingua franca of the kitchen. Now it's changed, obviously. But for the longest time, and probably we've had the majority of the managing directors at the Savoy, which is it's a British institution, has been run by foreigners. So the fact that we lost this opportunity has been very difficult, not only for me, for the sector, but not only our sector and our industry. It's all industries, have lost the ability to recruit. Now, so does it mean that we've met the political ambition, which was to reduce immigration? No. Immigration has continuously increased. The nature of the immigration has changed. Now, I'm not here to judge whether it is better or not. In my case, it's not the quality is different. The immigration has continued to increase. And before, I think, and I think that before Brexit, I think 65% of the immigration was European. Now it's 15%. So it's a different type of immigration. But the number. So if that was the purpose, the sole purpose of reducing immigration, this is a country of immigrants, and London thrives because it's got a constant flow of immigration, same as in the US. The US is a country of immigrants, such as Canada, and a lot of countries have brought talent and innovation, strengths through melting pots of cultures. London still has incredible energy. London is London because of that. Because you walk the street and you have a great attachment to the British culture. But the British culture is extremely diverse and rich. It goes from royalty to rock and roll, and all that mingles in the streets of London. As a matter of fact, last year, all the hotels became single-use plastic free. There is no. If there is single-use plastic, then I'm a liar. But there is no more single-use plastic in this hotel. Yeah, there's a bag, but it's not mine. So we eliminated, and that's taken cost, time, effort, innovation, and risk to do it. And Fairmont Hotels did it, and we were at the forefront of that. The Savoy was my assistant. I call her my assistant. She's actually my director of sustainability and quality at the hotel, and she's been with us for 28 years, and she's been driving sustainability for 15 or 18 years. So it's not new. When the hotel was renovated, a lot of structural decisions were made to bring boilers to a standard that would be much more sustainable or environmentally friendly. We have eliminated all plastics. We have embarked now on a program to be compliant with BREEAM and CREAM, which are European standards of sustainability, which should enable us to avoid become a stranded asset. There is a business reason to be sustainable and to have a neutral carbon footprint. There are business reasons because I think society, our customers will demand it, especially the younger generation, but also the authorities and the governments are all going toward, now with different speeds depending on who gets to power, but the commitment is there. And I think that it is a must, it's an obligation. It's not just a cool thing to do. Mm-hmm. It is about contributing at our level to reduce the carbon footprint. Travel is a heavy consumer of energy, and we have to develop forms of luxury travel which are much more responsible. One of those items that you touched upon is food. Mm-hmm. Food wastage is terrible. I don't know if it was the same with you, but when I was growing up, we were 4 siblings at the table, and we could not leave the table without having finished our plates. And whatever we were helping ourselves with, we had to finish. Mm-hmm. It's a very different environment. I've got 3, and it's a battle. It's a constant battle for a number of reasons. But food wastage, so now what we do, we are implementing, we have just actually received those pieces of equipment which will measure how much food wastage, what kind of food waste are we producing in various kitchens, but also in the staff canteen, which we call backstage, where so there's a system that identifies the quantity and the nature of the food, and it's done with artificial intelligence, and will give us report as to where we start, where we finish, which will give us the ability to actually, on a live basis, know what kind of wastage we have and where, and we're going to compare, and we're going to establish plans to reduce wastage by being more clever about the quantities of food served in various places, the nature of the food served. It will also help us being more clever about the menus, because we can target things that are more easily consumed and less thrown away. And gradually we're going to become much more intelligent when it comes to presenting food choices, but also in terms of quantity, quality, and waste management. I think we go, and so the waste management, and then the next one is energy. And energy, when I speak about our boilers, then we need to think about the next generation. So we're looking at all kinds of more sustainable techniques and technologies to help us reduce our energy consumption. Because energy consumption, especially in a grand old dam like this one, I will say just grand dam, it's not that old, it's only 135 years of age. It is, it was not built as with modern standards. So we continuously need to invest, and now we're talking millions. We're not talking about a piece of equipment that costs you a few tens of thousands. We're talking about millions. And so these are very, very important strategic decisions that we need to be conscious about, and we need to work with our investors to make sure that we are aligned as far as our environment and sustainability strategy is concerned, and that we get their support and demonstrate that if it's not an operating loss or profit, it is a question of valuation and asset valuation. Mm-hmm. If our property remains sustainable and is given a very good or excellent grade with a Brem and Creme classification, it guarantees the value and the future value of the property. So it's also economical.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like leading edge thinking, leading edge policies that you're implementing into the future, which sounds like you're at the forefront of things here.
We try as much as we can, because it's always a fine balance, because luxury is about choice. And choice is about opulence, and opulence is about quantity. So we need to operate that shift, again, gradually, without shocking the systems, but bringing this to life. I remember possibly 10, 12 years ago when we started to offer the guests the possibility to keep their sheets at night, not to change them the next day. And that was a shock to certain operators and to certain guests. Now it is extremely natural that even luxury company, and also there's a cost associated to it. Of course, hoteliers are saving money, but we are also contributing on reducing the carbon footprint of the hotel operation. And nowadays people have totally embraced it. Mm-hmm. If you wish, you still can get your sheets changed every day, or if something happens and the sheet is not in clean anymore, we are going to change it automatically. But people have accepted the fact that, no, it's not good for the environment. Even though I'm paying £1,000, I don't expect that to be changed. So I think that by doing this, we are constantly educating our guests as well as to what is better for the environment and for the planet.
Excellent. You have mentioned that you use AI actually to reduce food waste. Are there any other areas that you use AI?
There will be more use of AI to support and help us becoming more efficient and being able to offer product or service that are more personalized, because we'll be more clever about how we approach that. But it's not going to replace humans. Mm-hmm. In luxury hospitality, there will be gradually certain functions which are going to be handled. I think some certain support functions. There will be, functions of, purchasing, perhaps accounting, perhaps marketing, or these companies or these departments will use the assistance of AI to be more productive. We may need to reduce staff because we will be able to have more support from, an artificial intelligence, especially if it's, generative artificial intelligence, which learn, adapt. So we're going to use that to remain competitive. Mm-hmm. That said, it goes only so far. And I will say that the biggest shortfall of artificial intelligence, is that it's perfect. It's perfect. They don't make mistake. They write the text. The text is perfectly written, perfectly. But what it needs is humanity, mm-hmm. and it needs
human touch to it.
It needs, and the humanity is best expressed through its default and errors and imperfections. Mm-hmm. Whilst we strive to be perfect, we never are. And I think this is what differentiates humanity to artificial. And when you come to a luxury hotel, you are looking for experience. We're looking for memories. And those memories are created by humans. Those memories are created by imperfections that we turn around, and then suddenly we become, the guest's biggest friends because we have established that connection. Or we create something unique. This something unique is something that we have identified, and this is not necessarily something which is material, it's an emotion. And curating those emotions is something that remains, and for now at least, possibly until I'm long gone, we will still need people to serve. We can avoid, you can check in nowadays without going through the reception. You can be sent your key, you pay by distance. You can enter and leave. This is your choice as a customer. But places like this, you stay because, yes, it's got a great location, great reputation, great design, but you stay because of the people. You stay and you come back because of the people. And you will see gradually robots producing food. You can already see that if you ask certain application software, can actually, you say, I would like to have a reiteration of a shrimp cocktail, but put in the 21st century with the current trends in food. And you'd be gobsmacked by what these programs can do. They come up with photos, etc. Now you have to produce it, and you have to taste it. You got to smell it. Almost have to listen to it when you crunch it.
Yeah.
It's got sounds, it's got smells, it's got taste, it's got touches and feelings that is still done by human. And in our industry, especially at luxury level, imagine you can replace a doorman by having a robot opening the door. Well, but you're not going to have a bit of attitude, a bit of a smile, or a bit of imperfection and character. And say, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Or having a northern accent.
So I think for now we are safe. There will be more and more, I think, technology to support us and to become more efficient in the future. But we're still very essentially a very human-based enterprise, and therefore I'm not overly concerned of losing, or of not finding a job tomorrow.
Right. Well, we've had lots of conversations with your staff, in the hallways and all that. So I find that really difficult to be replaced, and that's what really is the essence of the visit.
So wonderful and unique, and they make the experience really.
But the task can be replaced. Nowadays, you see robots are now making up rooms in certain. So that happens. You don't need people to check you in or out. You could, we tried out a robot in our back of house a month ago to actually bring things, soiled items from the kitchen to the stewarding area, back and forth. And the robot is there, you feel it, then when the robot is full, it goes by itself. It stops when there is something and then moves and goes to the thing until there is somebody, so it's there. I was attending a conference the other day where there was a robot, going around, and you would drop, your glass or your plate. And then the robot, when it was full, go to the back of house and came back. So it is there. Yeah. But is that luxury? Is that creating memories? Yes, because of the novelty now. Oh, I was served by a robot.
Yeah. But what if 2 years, 5 years time, then it's just going to be...
There will be more and more. And I think in other sectors, especially in the more economical side of hospitality, there will be more and more. And we will see that more and more in our lives. You go to the airport and you got this Robocop, it's there. But at the Savoy, we are quite a long way away from it, I think. We are reconceptualizing rooms as well, which we will start a renovation program in the foreseeable future. We have devised rooms, but we are respecting the decoration schemes that are historically attached to the Savoy. You have an Edwardian style and you have an Art Deco style. And the new guest rooms will follow the same. They will be the traditionally Edwardian style and the traditionally Art Deco style. And we're going to respect the markers of these eras, but with choice of fabric and colors that are going to bring this to life and to be able to compete with all the, the existing competitors and colleagues in the city, and all the new ones who are wanting to take a little piece of the cake as well. So we need to bring about the product. And then it is about the staff culture. So we spend a lot of time speaking about what the hotel stands for, what is the service philosophy, and we repeat that. We speak about the stories that have taken place here. We continuously educate and train and develop our staff to be able to be ambassadors of the Savoy, to be able to tell stories and to be truly ambassadors of the place. And this is how we hope, by continuously adapting the product and being at the top of service, we're going to continue making the Savoy a successful hotel in the future.
Where do you see yourself in the next 10 to 20 years, and where do you see the Savoy?
20 years.
Major
I'll be 77. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll still be here. Alive, 77. Where will I be? I can't think of retirement as such. It's not something that because I like what I do, so my body is still pretty able, so I still love coming to work, and I don't imagine myself in 10 years' time being retired. Maybe in 20, 77, Maybe people have seen my face enough, and really time to be retired and away from all that. But again, I really, and I have a family, I've got friends, I love this job. So in 10 years' time, who knows? Maybe I'll still be at the Savoy.